our presentation, we're going to talk about the introduction of software, comparison between iOS and Android, comparison between Mac OS versus Windows, open-based software, and conclusion.
Software is a collection of computer programs and related data that provide the instruction telling a computer what to do and how to do. Sometimes, software is called as a program. Complete instruction that control, manage and support operational activities of computer system. Various kind of program used to operate and manipulate computers and their device. The two main categories of software are application software and system software. An application software is a software that fulfills a specific need or perform tasks. System software is a design to run a computer's hardware and provides a platform for application to run on top of that. Apple iOS is a proprietary mobile operating system that runs on mobile devices such as iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. Apple iOS is based on the Mac OS operating system for desktop and laptop computers. The iOS developers kit provides tools that allow for iOS app development. Android is a mobile operating system designed primarily for touchscreen mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets. Microsoft Windows, a range of commercial computing platform operating environments for personal computers. The Windows-based operating system was first introduced by Microsoft in 1985 and eventually came to dominate the world personal computer market. All recent versions of Windows are fully fledged operating systems.
This part I would like to share to you guys about the comparison between iOS system versus Android system. So, the first thing I want to talk is about the navigation of the operating system. Essentially, they are same when it comes to the home screen, just swiping it left or swiping it right. But what's the very different is that if you are using Android system, you still have the ability to place the icon. Whereas with iOS system, you can just fly up to the nearest application that you could see. But in my perception, if one day I'm using the iOS system, I hope I can just bring it down. Don't come at me with that you can just jailbreak because I don't want a jailbreak. I want it stopped and I want it to wait it right out of the icon box. I want to be able to bring apps down if I want, so they don't have to sit up there. And if I don't have many apps in my phone that will take up the whole second page in, I do think Android still is quite nice there. Now, the Android operating system navigating around still has the app drawer, which one you get used to it. You might actually like this a lot because everything is in alphabetical order. So it's pretty easy just to kind of think. For an example situation, if I want to go to YouTube, logically, I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom because YouTube apps start with the letter Y. Whereas with the iOS system, you're gonna just type it up here in the universal search. But the Android phone also does have the universal search by using Google feature, which you could type right there if you bring it back home. So next is customization for the operating system. For the Android phone, it's much pretty endless. On the Android device, you can change different launchers. You can go to the Play Store and then you can download tons of different launchers and just really change the entire experience of your Android device. Like you can make it a Microsoft launcher and just try it with the Microsoft launcher. So you can really just change it to your own taste or liking. That's still a very strong case or a reason to attract users to use Android device instead of iOS system. And for the iOS device, it's look pretty similar than it looked 10 years ago with this software over here, even though there's a lot of new features for 2020. And of course, the notch, and we have the gesture-based system that's a little bit different than 10 years ago, but still general overall, iOS experience has not changed, whereas you can just switch it up. I do think that Android software has evolved a little bit faster than iOS software, just kind of be refining over the years. So next, we do have Siri and Google Assistant. You could say, "Okay Google" to the Android phone. Foremost, the Siri and Google Assistant can do non-assistant things like calculation, weather, and setting alarm and setting calendar. So, if you are using iOS phone, you could say, "Hey Siri" to the phone. So, both of these features will bring out web result and stuff like that. So, both of them are super good at giving a search result. Android feature is a little better in giving a specific answer search queries, whereas Siri seems a little more enjoyable to use things like setting alarm or calendar or reminder or calendar event. Although for this Android system, we'll do that the assistant seems more search-based. For the Siri, which is iOS system, seems more personal assistant but also includes some search-based stuff as well. And the last one is the dictation feature. So, both of these software have a very good detection in 2020, plus both of them do respond pretty quickly and in real time. But sometimes, I do found that Android always keep up with users' voice a little bit faster than the iPhone. But both of them are still very good option for texting if you don't want types out of the message yourself. So, you see that they both did very well. However, the dictation for the iOS phone doesn't stop until you hit the keyboard. Whereas, if you are using the Android phone, it will stop you once you hit the stop talking. You don't have to hit the mic, it will just stop when you stop talking. In conclusion, both of them are very fantastic option for dictation feature in 2020.
Next, I will talk about the operating system. An operating system is a primary system software that controls computer hardware, software resources, and provide common service for computer program. It is not as OS. The familiar operating system includes Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, Google Chrome OS. So, I will compare two OS, which are Mac OS and Microsoft Windows. Both of the OS has their advantage and disadvantage in different categories. For example, the price of Microsoft Windows is cheaper than Mac OS, so that the Windows user has occupied more than 80% in the desktop world. Next, Mac OS is performed well as compared to Windows, but the performance for Windows is better than Mac OS in gaming. Besides, the media production for macOS is better than Microsoft Windows because macOS is best for audio, video animation. As a conclusion, macOS is better in performance and style, while Windows are cheap and best for normal use.
Okay, moving on to the open source software. So what is open source software? Open source software, or also known as OSS, is a type of computer software in which source code is released under a license which in the copyright holder grants users the right to use, study, change and distribute the software to anyone and for any purpose. Open source software may be delivered in collaborative public manner. Open source software is prominent example of open collaboration. Open source software is a software with a source code that anyone can inspect, modify and enhance. Source code is the part of software that most computer users don't ever see. Programmers who have access to a computer program source code can improve that program by adding features to it or fixing parts that don't always work correctly. So, what's the difference between open source software and other types of software? Some software has source code that only the person, team, or organization who created it and maintains exclusive control over it can modify. People call this kind of software proprietary or closed source software. Only the original authors of proprietary software can legally copy, inspect, and alter that software. And in order to use proprietary software, computer users must agree, or usually by signing a license display the first time that they run this software, that will do not anything with the software that the software author has not expressly permitted. Microsoft Office and Adobe Photoshop are examples of proprietary software. Open source software is different. Its authors make its source code available to others who would like to view that code, copy it, learn from it, alter it, or share it. LibreOffice and the GNU image manipulation program are examples of open source software. If you cannot imagine that the source software game, remember the example of Android. So we have the Android, and then we have the manufacturer from Samsung or the Oppo. So by that we can see that Android is the open source software. The manufacturers can copy or alter the software by their perspective. Do you know our UEM online learning? That example of the open source software too, because our UEM online learning using the platform of Moodle. Most of the university in Malaysia also use the Moodle as their online learning platform. Moving on to the advantages and disadvantages of open source software or OSS. First, the advantages. Open source software is usually easier to obtain than proprietary software, often resulting in increased use. Additionally, the availability of an open source implementation of a standard can increase adoption of that standard. It also helps to build developer loyalty as developers feel empowered and have a sense of ownership of the end product. Disadvantages of OSS. Not all OSS initiatives has been successful. For example, Source Exchange and Easel. Software experts and researchers who are not convinced by open source ability to produce quality system identify the unclear process, the late defect discovery, and the lack of any empirical evidence as the most important problems. Collected data concerning productivity and quality. It is also difficult to design a commercially sound business model around the open source paradigm. Consequently, only technical requirements may be certified and not the ones of the market. In terms of security, open source may allow hackers to know about the weaknesses or loopholes of the software more easily than closed source software. It depends on control mechanism in order to create effective performance of autonomous agents who participate in virtual organization.
To wrap up everything that has been stated in our videos, we can note that iOS and Android have their own benefits based on the consumer's preferred need. Same goes with macOS and Windows. We also know what is open-based software and the example of open-based software is. That is it from us. Thank you!